Hey everyone, Andrew here with Pristine Capital, recording a demo video for you on how to use our new adaptive alpha screener that we just published to TradingView. Quick background on who I am. I'm a CFA charter holder. I've been trading for over 11 years. I am a multi-year top competitor in the US Investing Championship, posting triple-digit returns in both 2023 and 2024. This year, I'm competing in the money manager division. As of right now, I have an 81.2% return year to date. I am the author of the Pristine Capital Substack and Discord community, where I share my research and I share my trading strategy and share the trades that are powering these performances in the US Investing Championship. So, these tools and everything that I build for you, they are an extension of my process and my trading strategy. I'm building this as a trader myself. I'm building the tools that I always wanted, and I'm sharing those tools with you. So, this screener screens for signals from our existing indicator suite, pulling concepts from pristine value areas and MGI, pristine fundamental analysis, and pristine volume analysis. I highly recommend, if you're not familiar with all the concepts from these tools, definitely jump into TradingView, check out those indicators. And we spent a ton of time on the documentation for those, where I outlined every single concept. So without further ado, let's dive in. In today's session, we're going to review all of the signals in the screener. We're going to locate the screener in TradingView and enable it. And then we're going to run this screener and I'll show you some of the things that you can do with it. And I really believe that we are still only scratching the surface. So I'm going to pull in my TradingView, and here we have our Pristine Adaptive Alpha Screener. Anyone that is a subscriber to our TradingView tools is going to have access to this. And then if you are interested in getting access, navigate to tools.pristinecapital.net and you can get that access. All right, so let's quickly walk through the documentation, and then we're gonna just briefly cover all of the signals in the tool. So in the signals overview, this is showing you all of the screenable conditions. So we have the highest volume in a year, we have our trend template screener, rule of 100, bullish 80% rule, bearish 80% rule, a value area high breakout, and a value area low breakdown. The highest volume in a year, why would we want to screen for this condition? Well, a lot of times when stocks are having a significant trend change or when there's a significant news event, that's when you end up seeing that HVY candle appear. Next, we have our trend template, which is labeled Mark Minervini's gift to the trading world. This is awesome that he created this, but these are his trend filters. And the rationale here is that a lot of times the best performing stocks in the market, they're already in uptrends when they have those super performance moves. So our indicator is allowing you to screen for stocks that meet the criteria of the trend template. Next is the Pristine Capital rule of 100. And what we're doing here is we're filtering for stocks that meet this following condition: the year-over-year EPS growth plus the year-over-year sales growth is greater than or equal to 100. In my own studies, I found that a lot of stocks that meet this criteria tend to be the top performing growth stocks in the market. So it's important that we put that in there. That is our own innovation. Next, we get into a few of the concepts from our value areas and MGI indicator. We have the bullish 80% rule and bearish 80% rule. Now, these are all keying off of value areas. So first of all, let's quickly just go through what is a value area. A value area is a price zone in which 68 to 70%, depending on your own personal settings, of a trading period's volume occurred. So it's really showing you, hey, what were the most fair prices? Where did most of the price action take place? On our daily chart, we have a monthly value area. So right now, we're in the month of November. So this is showing us where 70% of the price action for NVIDIA took place in the prior month, which was October. The bullish 80% rule tells you when a stock, or really any financial asset, opened the period below the value area and in the period ended up getting back inside of the value area. In our value areas and MGI indicator, the bullish 80% rule triggers a green background on the value area. And the idea behind the bullish 80% rule is that oftentimes when a security does this and moves back into value, it oftentimes tests the other side of value. Now, the bearish 80% rule is the exact same thing, but the logic is flipped in reverse. So this is when a security begins the period above the value area and navigates down back inside of the value area. That's when the bearish 80% rule is going to trigger, and that flips the value area to a red shading. Next, we have our breakout triggers. A value area high breakout is when that security is trading below or inside of that value area and ends up breaking out to the upside. Oftentimes, that can signal that a stock is going through a period of price discovery, which is why it is important that we flag that condition. And then the value area low breakdown is the same logic reversed. That is when a stock ends up breaking below that monthly value area low. Same deal, that can signify that an asset is going through a period of downside price discovery. Now, the main reason why I love using market profile is because so much of the price action in any asset that you see on a day-to-day basis is just noise. In my technical process, apart from an asset reclaiming or testing a key moving average, the only true signals that I use when it comes to price action are these signals: value area breakouts, bullish and bearish 80% rule. And then finally, we have our metric columns, which are displayed in the screener. And you can see the definitions for all of those right here. If you've used our tools before, these metrics should all be familiar. They're embedded into the other tools as well. Now, for this adaptive alpha screener, keep in mind, you want to mark the indicator as a favorite, navigate to the screener. There is no need to keep this indicator on your chart. So let's go ahead and do it. So I just navigated to my chart layout. Now you want to go to your indicators. You can use the shortcut, which is just the / key on your keyboard, or you can also just navigate up here to indicators. Then you're going to go to invite only. And from here, this is where you're going to want to favorite that Pristine adaptive alpha screener. Once you've done this, you can navigate to the Pine screener. I'm going to open up a new window. I'm using the TradingView desktop version, but you can do all this same stuff on the web version as well. So I'm going to click screeners. I'm going to click the Pine screener. Once we're in the Pine screener, I'm going to go ahead, click here, and I am going to add our Pristine adaptive alpha screener. Now, the Pine screener is a brand new product from TradingView. It is still technically in its beta. And for right now, one of the limitations is that you can't use it to screen their entire database of stocks. You have to first narrow it down to a watch list. And using the Pine screener, you're always going to be screening through your watch lists. I have a universe list that I generate using the regular stock screener tool within TradingView. My partner John and I created a useful Substack article that has videos embedded that shows you how to create your own universe watch list and get that going within the TradingView screener. So definitely check that out if you need help on this. I'll include a link to this article in the description of this video. I'm going to close this out, that way we can start from scratch. I'm going to go and unflag all of the symbols in my universe list. I'm going to unflag all of the symbols in the system. And what I highly recommend is you go up to your watch list, go to open list, and make sure those colored watch lists that TradingView allows you to pick, I would make sure to favorite those, because you can use those to actually filter for your favorite trading setups like I'm going to show you. So for example, this HVY, if I unfavored it, you'll see that it'll disappear from this band over here. So I unfavorited it. Now I just favorited it again. So my red flagged list is directly for that universe. Now I'm going to add a new tab. I'm going to go to screeners. I'm going to go into the regular stock screener. And my universe list, all I'm doing is filtering for stocks market cap greater than 300 million. I'm looking for stocks above the 200-day simple moving average. And then I have a dollar volume filter here, looking for stocks that trade an average dollar volume of greater than 50 million. Now TradingView allows people to share their screens. So I'm going to include my universe screen in the description to this video as well. So I'm going to run my screen just by clicking right here. This refreshes all the results. As you can see right now, there's 800 results in my screen. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down. And sometimes it does take a minute or two for all of the results to load in. So you're going to want to keep scrolling, 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 get down to the bottom of your list. And then I'm going to click the bottom entry, and I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut Control A on my keyboard to select all of the symbols. Now I'm going to right click, and I'm going to flag all of the symbols. And remember, my red list, I have it labeled as my universe list. So I'm going to click this. Now if I go back to the Pine screener, I'll just flip to a random list. I'll go to AI stocks. Now let's go back to our universe just to refresh it. And you can see there's only 500 symbols in here. So what does that mean? That means I need to grab a few more. Because as we can see, there should be 800 stocks. And you can see they just appeared. So when you're running this screener of your universe, just keep in mind it does take a minute or two for these results to populate. And this is a quirk right now. The Pine screener is in its beta version. I would imagine TradingView is going to make this a lot more seamless in the future, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to flag all of these as well. So now if I jump back to the Pine screener, right now there's 500 symbols. If I just click back in and refresh it, now we have 803 symbols. And this matches the 803 right here in our universe. So what I'm going to do first, just to populate all of our metrics, I'm going to click this scan button with none of the criteria selected. And this is where we can start to see the incredible power of the screener. If I want to see within my universe what's the best performing stock so far today, we can see this in real time. And then same thing, if I want to look at the biggest winners on the year in my universe, we can do the same thing. So if you're interested in following the market leaders, it can be very useful to just go through your universe list, really quickly scan it, and you can see which stocks are leading. And then from there, you can do further research on these stocks. Like for example, you can see a few themes emerge. Newegg. Newegg could be pertaining to the AI hardware build out. Iron, data center energy. Bloom Energy, data center energy. Oklo, nuclear power, data center energy. So you can see that that's been a huge theme throughout 2025. Everything in our universe has that red flag right now. So if I go back to my chart, and I go back to my list, and I go back to my universe list, you can see that all of these have been populated. So very often throughout the trading session, I populate my universe list, I quickly sort by percentage change, and I can look at within my universe the top and bottom performers on the day. And then you can just click into the charts and you can very quickly scroll through all of those names. So for example, Datadog, it just pops right off the page and we can see it just hit its VPOC. Now keep in mind right now this blue list is blank and this is my trend template list. I'm going to go back into the Pine screener. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start applying these filters. So first one that I will apply is the trend template filter. And I'm going to set this to true, and then I'm going to hit the scan button. We went from 803 symbols all the way down to 342 symbols. Now what I could do is I could do the same exact thing. I could scroll down to the bottom of this list. I could click the bottom entry, hit Control A, right click, and if I wanted to, I could add a new flag to these symbols. That way, when I go to my chart, I can further bucket these out. So the reason why I love the TradingView Pine screener is because we can start off with that universe list, and then we can apply our own methodology and our own pristine filters to the list. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to reset this filter to remove it, and then I'm going to re-hit this scan button. And now this is going to bring us back to those 803 symbols. Now, if you're looking for stocks that are breaking out, you can click this break above value area high filter, set that to true, and you can go ahead and scan that. So we can see here that for today's session, there are 28 stocks that are breaking out of value. And I'm going to go ahead and flag these with a yellow flag, which I have labeled on my setup as a value area high breakout. Now keep in mind, you don't have to have yours set up the same exact way that I do. I'm still experimenting with this as well, and this is what I've landed on for the time being. So I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of this list, click the bottom entry, hit Control A, right click, and flag these with a yellow flag. So now this just makes my life so much easier because rather than sifting through a ton of charts and manually looking for the stocks that are breaking out of their monthly value area, I just flagged all of those symbols. I'm going to go back to my chart. I'm going to click my yellow list. And as you can see, this is going to show us all stocks that are breaking out of their monthly value areas. Now, today's a pretty weak day in the market. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to filter this best performing. And you can see a lot of these stocks, they are putting in topping candles, it looks like, but some are stronger. You can see HCC. So really what this is going to do is it's just going to speed up your process and speed up your workflow to where the signals that you're looking for are now being curated for you using our screener. I highly recommend messing around with the screener and figuring out what works for you. What's working pretty well for me so far is prior to the market open, when I'm doing my pre-market preparation, I'll generate my universe list, maybe separate it into my universe and trend template stocks. And then throughout the session, I do monitor for all of these technical signals as they occur. When the market closes, a lot of times I will unflag all of the symbols. And then at night, I will really start slicing and dicing the data. Another cool filter you can put on, a lot of times I do this over the weekend, is for example, like let me just reset this filter. And one thing that we can do is look for stocks that have a certain year to date percentage change. So I'm going to move this to above 100%. And we can see that there's over 100 stocks so far year to date that have a return greater than 100%. So even for me on a year over year basis, like right now it's the year 2025, and there's a ton of stocks that have done well. There's over 100, which is pretty awesome. So we know that in terms of just the amount of opportunity that there was to do well in 2025, there was a lot. As we move into 2026, I'm definitely going to monitor the number of stocks that have triple digit returns on the year. Let's say if next year there's only 10, then we can clearly say, hey, there was less opportunity in the market. So what I'm finding is I can use this tool to curate my top trading setups and find candidates to trade, but I can also use it for market analysis by finding out how many stocks are meeting these different criteria. So I highly recommend go through the scanner, play around with it, start slicing and dicing the data, add individual filters, add multiple filters, and really just start incorporating this into your daily process. Prior to building this, I used to use a combo where I'd use FinViz, I'd use some DeepView, I'd mess around with TradingView. I just used so many systems. And the goal with this tool was, hey, let's take everything that I've been screening for in all these different systems and let's just combine it into one screener. That way I have a much more streamlined process. And I think it's going to do the same for you. Hope you enjoyed this video. Take care.